Now on to a story of a heartwarming donation that turned into an absolute headache for an Anderson veteran after a nonprofit group built him a new house.
It was really exciting that this was going to happen, but he says then they left without finishing the job. As our Rich Van Wyk saw firsthand, the vet now is stuck trying to come up with a plan to fix it.
Tim Sankowski came home from war hurt and hurting. The home he and his family dreamed of turned into a nightmare they live with every day.
It was a Hoosier veteran wanting to build a Hoosier home for Hoosiers helping Hoosiers kind of thing.
And 5 years later,
it ended up not being finished and just a headache.
A huge headache. Doors don't fit. You can see daylight pouring through the bottom of this one. Some of the interior doors were missing. One opens backwards.
It doesn't function properly because it's facing the wrong direction. Right now the door is locked.
Windows leak air, the fireplace is missing, siding is falling off, the ungraded yard is littered with construction materials. Ramps and sidewalks, they didn't exist until a generous businessman installed them later. Pretty important stuff.
Yes, especially for someone in a wheelchair.
Tim lost his legs and almost an arm to an IED in Afghanistan. When he got home, the Path Home, he says, a Greenfield-based nonprofit helping veterans, offered to take on the task of building him a home. There was a grand opening before the house was completely finished. And what happens right after the grand opening?
They leave.
According to Tim, workers returned sporadically, but not much work got done. Tim says the Path Homes raised the money, recruited contractors, and took over the project.
I'm more worried about making sure another veteran doesn't get hurt like this again. Yes, this is a free home. Yes, this is a free whatever they help you with. If they say there's going to be no financial burden at the end, make sure there's no financial burden and nothing that's going to come back and bite you in the butt.
Tim says he plans to take on the problems one at a time, unfortunately having to borrow money, taking on a burden the family of 5 hadn't counted on. In Madison County, Rich Van Wyk, Channel 13, Eyewitness News.
Well, there's always two sides to every story, and it was late today the chairman of the Path Home returned our calls, and David Mitchell tells quite a different story. He says the organization raised $260,000 and recruited, in his words, boatloads of volunteers to build the family a $400,000 home. According to Mitchell, the keys were turned over and additional work needed to be done, but that the family wanted to move in and insisted on taking over the project. He added that they offered to help with the landscaping, but that help was then turned down.
The man